You are listening to an update from Washington with the Congressman from Alabama's 1st Congressional District, Bradley Byrne. Now from our nation's capital, Congressman Byrne.
Welcome into this week's edition of an update from Washington. I'm Seth Morrow, joined with Congressman Bradley Byrne, and we have a number of important issues to talk about this week. Let's start by something that happened last week, actually, the election of a new Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. What does this do for the House?
Well, I think it's a tremendous step forward. I think Speaker Ryan is going to be a unifying force in our conference. He's opened things up already, and I think that needed to be done to open up the process. But he has a clear, very conservative, but clear and principled vision, not just for the Congress, but for the country. And so I look forward to working with him and the many other leaders that we've got in our conference to move forward a conservative agenda, and I think we're going to see a lot of success.
Another big issue here recently has been the National Defense Authorization Act. This is the bill that it authorizes 3 more littoral combat ships, which are built in the 1st District. The president had vetoed a bill, but it seems like you've got a solution.
Yeah, we think we do. In order to meet the restrictions that are in the budget bill that was passed, that I voted against, but we got some restrictions, but they do have some increases for national defense, we had to go and make some changes. But now that we've made those changes, we know that we will get enough Democrat votes to go with our Republican votes to get at least 2/3, which not only means we can pass it by suspension of our rules, but it also means that it's going to be we can override a veto. So I think it's very important for us to do that. That locks in our littoral combat ships. It locks in a lot of other very important things like a pay raise for the military. So I'm looking forward to the passage of that bill.
And obviously with the lead up to Veterans Day, this is the perfect type of bill for the House to be working on.
Absolutely. It's so important that we take care of everybody in our military and our veterans. And I know our veterans out there feel very strongly that we do a good job going forward, and this is one of those bills that will do that.
Another big development was the transportation bill. You've talked a lot about the need for a long-term highway bill. Well, it seems like the House took a big step forward.
Sure did. We've been fighting and trying to get this done for a long time, and I'm very pleased that we finally passed a bill that will give us a 6-year program. You have to have a 6-year program to build these big projects like our I-10 bridge. So we haven't done one of these in several years. And so the fact that we did one at all is pretty amazing given where everything has been over the last several years. But we did it. It's got a particular provision in it that allows the Secretary of Transportation to choose priority projects where money can go. He's been to the district. He's seen it. He's called it a priority. He said he's going to do everything he can to advance it. And I feel confident that this will be one of those priorities. So there wasn't everything in the bill that I loved, but sometimes you have to take some things you don't just love all the way to get more important things. And I think that's a very important step forward for our district.
And these long-term bills, they're obviously long-term highway bills are important to give certainty to road builders. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, when you've got a project that's going to take 4 to 6 years to build, they've got to have a long-term authorization for what they're doing. So this has been missing, and I think it's going to be exactly what we need to go forward.
Well, as we begin to wrap up here, what is your message to veterans as we head into Veterans Day?
First of all, we thank you for your service. You and your families have sacrificed so much for the rest of us to help keep us free to protect our country. So thank you. But we need to go beyond just thank you and say we have a commitment to you. And in many ways, we have not kept that commitment because of all these problems at the VA. Veterans Day reminds me of my commitment, my obligation to do everything I can to help the many veterans in my district and veterans across the United States. Thank you and happy Veterans Day.
Well, thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll talk with you next week.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody joining in. Get in touch with us through burn.house.gov.
You have been listening to an update from Washington with Congressman Bradley Byrne. Congressman Byrne encourages you to contact him with any comments or questions. You can email him online at burn.house.gov or find him on Facebook under U.S. Representative Bradley Byrne. Stay tuned to this station next week for another timely report from our nation's capital. This broadcast has been pre-recorded.